here, back once again with a new episode of The Tea Drinker for 2019. I've been raiding TK Maxx's homeware departments again, and I've come up with a couple of variety packs for having a look at. And today we're going to be looking at the Edinburgh Tea and Coffee Company and their Scottish collection, which was £4.99. You get 4 varieties and you get 10 sachets of each variety. So we're going to kick things off with the whiskey variety. Water and barley from the glens are blended into the drink of Scotland, a smooth pure leaf tea marinated in a Scottish malt whiskey flavour. I'm not much of a drinker, in fact I'm pretty much teetotal, and when I did enjoy a tipple I didn't really like whiskey. I mean, I'd indulge myself in a couple of bourbons, you know, the old JD, but as for sort of Scottish or Irish whiskey, I kind of avoided them. So I'm a little apprehensive about this particular flavour, but we'll see. It could be quite nice, I suppose. The next one is Heather, lovely purple sachet there. A delicate blend of the fine black teas from Africa and Assam complement the added heather blossoms flowering across the slopes of the Highland Mountains of Scotland. So this is probably going to be quite a floral taste. In my experience of African and Assam teas, African tends to be quite earthy taste, and Assam is usually a sort of darker, maltier taste, quite strong. There we go. And here we have Thistle, of course, Thistle, the flower of Scotland. So light, rich black teas from Africa and Ceylon, blended with Scottish thistle blossom. Thistles grow wild on the banks and braes across the heartland of Scotland. So this is probably going to be a sort of lighter in sort of texture and colour than the heather tea. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be very floral, but you never know. Might be a pleasant surprise. It'll probably be a bit like nettle tea, I suppose. And last of all, we have a Scottish breakfast. Blended to suit softer Scottish waters, this lively tea has enough depth, strength and liveliness to start the day, and is perfectly balanced with a long, piquant aftertaste. Not actually sure. Let's see if there's anything to say what the tea is actually in the Scottish. Okay, so it's got a bit more sort of bump in here. So the Scottish breakfast tea is a traditional blend of the finest teas from Assam, Ceylon and Africa. So it's a golden cup of tea. So in summation, so the whiskey flavoured tea is actually a China leaf tea. I don't know how that's going to play out. China's quite a strong. They usually have quite strong blend. So the thistle is a African Ceylon blend, and the heather is an African and Assam blend, and the Scottish breakfast tea is a blend of all three of them. So let's set up for the tasting session. Set up the cups and go for the first look after the brew. Okay, so we've added the water now, and we've had them brewing for a couple of minutes. As you can see, they're a pretty much standard colour, or sort of a sort of brownish mahogany, slightly reddish colour. Not getting much aroma from any particular of the tea varieties, but that'll probably be more apparent in the taste test. So on the first look, there's nothing really to sort of differentiate between the different varieties at the moment. So let's get set up for the taste test and see what they taste like. Okay, we're going to kick things off with the Scottish breakfast. Now, I've had Irish breakfast and I've had English breakfast. I'd already had a Scottish breakfast one before, and so this is a quite dark, I believe this is a sort of, I think I said it was a mixture of Assam, Ceylon and African blend. It's kind of got the sort of regular sort of earthy aroma that you'd get with a breakfast blend. Sort of a slightly sour note as well. So let's give it a taste. Oh, that's strong. Nice, strong, slightly bitter aftertaste, but very smooth on the palate. This is a very good kick me out of bed, which is what you want in a breakfast brew. Not very astringent on the tongue in the aftertaste. There's bitterness there, but it's not overwhelming. It doesn't have a dry mouthfeel, it's quite smooth. And sort of a maltiness, very earthy. Has a freshness to it as well, sort of a green freshness. So all in all, very good for a breakfast brew. Okay, the next one I'm a little apprehensive about is the whiskey flavoured tea, because I'm not a drinker. So let's give it a sniff. There isn't really a sort of big whiskey aroma with this, which I would have thought there would have been. I can't really smell anything. There's a sort of vague kind of alcohol smell about it, but I can't really smell anything more than that. So let's give this a taste. Can't taste any of the whiskey at all. It's a very sort of slightly pleasant, springy, green kind of tea flavour, but there's no real sort of punchy sort of whiskiness like you get from like another sort of whiskey flavoured product, like you get these cheeses that have like whiskey in them, and you get these fudge that has whiskey. If you're gonna put something that has a whiskey taste to it, you know, have it taste of whiskey. There's I'm not getting anything from this. I'm not getting any sort of whiskey. It's a nice tea, but as for the sort of whiskey taste, I'm not really getting anything. It's if it's there, it's too dilute. So the next one we got is the heather, which is African and Assam blend. So this is going to be quite sort of rich and malty. Again, I'm not getting any sort of floral scent from the heather. I am getting the sort of deep richness, maltiness that you get with an Assam. There's a slight floralness, but it complements the sort of darkness. It's not overwhelming. You get the maltiness of the Assam and the strength from the African blends. There's not really much dominance in this. There is a slight floral note, but it's not, like I said, it's not overwhelming. It's more of a compliment to the tea blend than sort of dominance. But if you're going to advertise something as having sort of a flavour to it, it's much better if that flavour is kind of more prominent. But then again, it is a very good cup of tea. Okay, and the last one we're going to be doing is the Thistle, which is an African Ceylon blend. So it's probably going to be a bit of a lighter taste than the Assam African blend. So let's give it a sniff. I'm not really getting the sort of floral aroma like the heather that I thought I would be getting from something that has plant elements in it. But I'm definitely getting the sort of fresh springiness you get with a Ceylon tea, not the sort of dark maltiness of an Assam. It's quite bitter, quite springy, quite fresh. Definitely a lot less maltiness. It's a bit more punchy, but again, not getting a sort of flowery taste. It's more of a sort of complement than dominance. So yes. Okay, so that was the Edinburgh Tea and Coffee Company. Not bad. Could do a bit more in improving the dynamics of their flavour profiles, but as individual tea blends, they're not too bad. My favourite, I think, would have to be the Scottish Breakfast. It's a good experiment into starting your day. So, yeah. I'm going to put some links down below so you can try them out yourself. Your opinion might be a bit different to mine, so you know, you might have different tastes to mine, and yeah. So that's another episode of The Tea Drinker. I've been Sue Mnemonic. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you again soon.